The Search for the Reality of the Unseen World. 4. Abdel-Moumin Ahmed. The Beginning of the Age of Spiritual Sciences. The question of life after death and the reality of the spirit world is no longer confined to the domain of religion or to the realm of metaphysical debate. In the view of many researchers, it has begun to approach the status of an objective fact of existence, worthy of systematic scientific investigation. Over the past 2 centuries, a field of inquiry known as parapsychology has emerged, dedicated to the scientific study of spiritual and paranormal phenomena. Like many other human sciences, it employs observation, experimentation, data collection, and critical analysis. Extensive research has been conducted in universities and specialized research centers in various countries around the world. In this series, we will examine a number of influential ideas and personalities that contributed to the rise of modern spiritual movements, including Madame Helena Blavatsky, Rudolf Steiner, and others. Their ideas deserve careful study, thoughtful consideration, and critical evaluation. Such examination, however, does not imply accepting every claim they made as true. Our methodology is one of discernment and verification. We seek to accept from these spiritual traditions only those insights that are compatible with faith in God, strengthen a rational understanding of monotheism, and support the altruistic and benevolent vision of unificationism, which we believe represents one of the central spiritual truths of our age. One of the most significant examples of this approach is found in the works of Dr. Sun Myung Moon, particularly exposition of the divine principle and unification thought. These works present a modern spiritual vision that reinterprets the sacred Abrahamic scriptures in light of a renewed understanding of humanity and existence. I have presented and discussed many aspects of this vision in detail in my book United Visions and in several other publications. The Opening of Heaven and the Multiplicity of Spiritual Messages. In my view, the increasing diversity of spiritual experiences and messages points to the beginning of a new era in which heaven has become more open to human consciousness. This does not simply refer to the growing number of spiritual claims. Rather, it refers to the emergence of an extraordinary abundance of spiritual ideas, experiences, and insights that deserve careful investigation, critical examination, and objective testing. From this perspective, it may be said that numerous spiritual influences have entered human history, presenting a wide variety of ideas. These must all be carefully sifted and evaluated so that truth may be distinguished from falsehood. Heaven, as it were, is opening itself to human awareness in preparation for the emergence of a greater truth. I believe that the unificationist vision presented by Dr. Moon represents one of the clearest expressions of this spiritual opening, while recognizing that many other sincere movements of faith and religious renewal are also contributing to humanity's preparation for a new age of faith, peace, and spiritual unity. One Quranic passage that may, in my opinion, be open to such an interpretive reading is, "By those spirits sent forth in succession, and by those spirits that blow violently, and by those spirits that spread the truth far and wide, and by those spirits that distinguish truth from falsehood, and by those that deliver the reminder, whether as an excuse or a warning. Surely what you have been promised will indeed come to pass. Then, when the stars are extinguished, and when the heaven is split open." Quran 77:1-9. This remarkable passage contains profound eschatological imagery that, in my view, invites fresh interpretation in light of humanity's expanding spiritual awareness. The beginning of scientific research into spiritual phenomena. One of the most significant milestones in this field was the establishment of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, in London in 1882. It was the first scientific organization dedicated to the systematic investigation of psychological and spiritual phenomena without prejudice, neither assuming their reality nor dismissing them in advance. Among its principal areas of investigation were telepathy, clairvoyance, mediumship, apparitions, hypnosis, automatic writing. Later, the Society also examined near-death experiences and many other unusual phenomena. Its membership included some of the leading scholars and scientists of the age, among them Henry Sidgwick, the Society's first president, Frederick W. H. Myers, Edmund Gurney, Sir William Barrett. It was later joined by distinguished figures such as William James, Henri Bergson, Charles Richet, Nobel Prize laureate, Lord Rayleigh, and Sir William Crookes. The society marked a historic turning point by moving the study of spiritual phenomena from the sphere of religious belief and popular tradition into the realm of organized scientific research. It laid much of the intellectual foundation upon which modern parapsychology would later develop as an independent academic discipline toward a new science of the spirit. Many researchers note that the Society for Psychical Research did not remain an isolated institution. It was followed by numerous research centers around the world devoted to the scientific investigation of spiritual and paranormal phenomena. A number of scholars argue that the findings of these studies provide evidence that may be interpreted as supporting the survival of human personality after bodily death, although this conclusion remains the subject of ongoing scientific debate. Some researchers go further, maintaining that the accumulated evidence strongly suggests that the human personality does not perish with the physical body, but continues to exist after death in forms that remain only partially understood. If a substantial portion of these findings ultimately proves valid, they would represent one of the most significant developments in the history of human knowledge. They would open an entirely new horizon for understanding life and death and offer increasingly persuasive empirical support for belief in the reality of the spirit world, a subject that unquestionably deserves continued research, careful scrutiny, and open scholarly discussion.